Palace have been terrific, excellent in 2025. Only Liverpool, Arsenal and Manchester City have picked up more points than them in the calendar year so far, even above the likes of Chelsea and Newcastle, who both qualified for the Champions League this season, of course. Now, things looking good for Palace and Glasner then, but we shouldn't forget what happened last season. First, though, the good stuff. We've got the longest unbeaten run since the start of last season here. Obviously, the reigning champions, Liverpool, went on a 26-game unbeaten run. Then come Arsenal, and then come Bournemouth and Crystal Palace, whose current run of 11 games and counting across the end of last season and into this current season is, at the moment, ongoing. But rewind 12 months, it was a different story because Palace have also been a side to go on bad runs of results as well. Here's the longest games without a win since the start of last season. Now, excluding the teams that eventually got relegated last season, only Wolves went on a longer run without a win, and they actually did it twice with 10 and 9 games. Palace lost 5 of their opening 8 Premier League games last season on a run of 8 without a win. This time last year, even questions were being raised about the future of Oliver Glasner. And since the start of last season, Palace have drawn 17 games, more than any other side. So the question is, if Palace are to make a further leap in their development, or even Glasner, if he's to make a further leap towards a so-called bigger side, does Glasner need to be more ambitious? Does he need to turn all of these draws, or at least some of these draws, into victories?
And we're saying that about a team that are, all right, early days, but 5th in the Premier League table. And if they can, as Dave points out there, start turning some of those draws into wins. I mean, you're talking then about them being a challenger for top 4. I mean, what is the ceiling for Crystal Palace, do you think, Jeff?
It's hard to not get carried away a little bit. They've had a good start and the big teams, over the course of the season do come good and they pick up more points and that's just the way it is. But for Palace to keep ticking along, like I said, they have that core group together. They're probably running on, good momentum from winning silverware. So for them, they're probably just looking forward to, seeing where they can, go with this, where they can sort of lead it. They know already they're going to be comfortable. They're a top table club. The players are fully Premier League established. So, it's exciting for them and the fans, to see where they can finish up. Exciting,
and yet there must be that frustration as well. If you're, we all know where our football clubs are in the food chain of the Premier League, whatever division your team is in. So, they win an FA Cup, they want to kick on, their form is good, but then there's talk about their manager going, and they've sseen Eze leave, and what's going to happen with Mateta, what's going to happen with Guehi. That's got to be frustrating, Charlie.
I think it is frustrating, but that's what comes with success, and like Jeff said, I think the going on that cup run, winning that cup, gives the squad confidence and belief, and that's why they're on such a good run now. They say 11 games unbeaten. That belief and togetherness probably is what's winning them games or not losing games, and it's how long that can continue for Crystal Palace.
And of course, a lot will depend on Marc Guehi and how long he stays at the club. Charlie, I think the club have accepted that he will be leaving sometime soon, and that his time is coming to an end with them. Could leave in January, halfway through the season, but they would at least then be financially compensated for what's left of his contract. Is that therefore the best or worst outcome for him to go in January, Charlie?
A bit of both. I think if you're Marc and you want to better yourself or go to a higher club or bigger club, as you want to say, then the club has to look for financial recompense. So it's probably best that he does go in January for the club. Off the pitch, on the pitch, you probably want him for the whole season, and then give him your good wishes and say bye and good luck. But it's what the club wants and what the club needs.
What do you think, Jeff? What's best for Palace? An extra 5 months of Guehi in the team, and what that could get you, or the financial?
It's a bit of a tricky one, I think, just because you look at the way it unfolded through the summer, and then the talk of the manager saying if you get rid of him, I'll walk as well. So, he might do the same in January, where he's saying no, we need him for the full season, but then on the other hand, the club are probably thinking we want some money for him, and then obviously Marc Guehi has his own ideas where he's probably thinking, when it comes to the summer, I'll have better options. Who's going to be buying him in January? Will he have all the options on the table? So it probably is better for him to just keep playing, going into a World Cup, you know, getting on the plane and doing really well in the tournament for him would be amazing. And then he'll have options of all sorts of clubs, I'd imagine.
Well, yeah, and it seems he might have lots of options. Obviously, Liverpool pushed for him in the summer. There's talk of Manchester City in the last few days. Real Madrid has been mentioned as well. I mean, if he has got these options on the table, what's he going through at the moment then?
Probably focusing on playing football. I think he probably thinking, like Jeff said, end of season, being in the best form that he can be, going into the World Cup, playing the best that he can, and then once that's finished, and then having all the options on the table wherever that may be, and it's choosing what's best for him.
Yeah. As and when he does go, whenever that might be, Jeff, how much of a hole is he going to leave in Palace's team, not only defensively, but he's the captain as well?
Yeah, you'd like to think it'd leave a massive hole because he's been brilliant for the club. But then you look, they're fifth in the league. Who would have thought, you know, Eze leaving would leave a big hole as well? And it doesn't seem to have right now. I know it's still early days, but you know, Palace seem to be this club where they get players in from the Championship or other Premier League clubs, and they develop them, and then sort of sell them on. And you know, they're not that big club where they hold on to players. So I'd imagine they'd be all right. They do smart business, and they get good players in.
You think they'd be okay as and when he goes, Charlie? Or how hard is he to replace?
I think it will leave a big hole in terms of maybe off the pitch as well. I think he looks after a lot of players. He helps a lot of players off the pitch, and he has that connection with the fans. But like Jeff says, I think the business that Crystal Palace do has been good. You know, everyone thought that Eze would leave a massive hole as well, but they seem to have replaced him and are thriving. So I'm sure there's people in place that they're looking at, players in place that they're looking at. So it's picking the right person, I guess, for them, that when Marc does go, who they're going to bring in.
Just finally on Guehi and that whole leadership thing. This whole, we often hear, you know, this player's great in the dressing room. He's brilliant, brilliant to the players in the dressing room. I mean, I've never been in a dressing room. Most of the people watching won't know what that's like. Why is that so important, and what makes a great leader in that way for you, Jeff?
So it can be different. Obviously, there's vocal leaders, and you know, on and off the pitch, they'll be the ones who go and talk to the manager and keep players in line. But then it could be someone who just gets on with everyone, is a friendly face. He could be upbeat. Could be good when they have a night out. Who knows? But
there we go. Now we're getting
yeah. But no, there's loads of different ways you can be, you know, a good leader, and you don't have to be the most vocal. I think he shows in his performances he's a leader, the way he plays. But then, like I said, just being friendly around the place, picking people up. Sort of when they went through that, I think it was 8-9 games there where they didn't win. He could have been massive going in, saying it will turn, we're a good squad, and that sort of stuff. And then you look and see what they go on and win by the end of the season.